What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So the college football playoff, the first ever 12-team college football playoff, kicks off on Friday night here on December 20th at 8 o'clock with Notre Dame hosting Indiana in the 7-10 matchup in the first round of the college football playoff bracket. So we're just going to briefly go over our projections here, go all the way through the bracket until we crown our national champion here. Before we do jump into that, though, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. More college football, Michigan State football, Michigan State basketball, a bunch of other stuff on the channel as well, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So I'm just going to start at the top of the bracket here, the 8-9 matchup, Ohio State hosting Tennessee in Columbus. I think this is my favorite first round matchup. I think this is the one that is the most likely for a underdog or lower seeded team to win and upset a higher seeded team. In this one, I get that it's in Columbus, but man, let me tell you, I just think that Ohio State is reeling after that loss the end of November a couple weeks ago. They're to their rival, and I don't know. I know it's a home game, but I think that Tennessee can come in there and win this thing. So Ohio State, Tennessee, I'm going with Tennessee. Texas and Clemson is another matchup that I am really intrigued by, and I think that Clemson can, really compete in this game and, hang around and possibly come away with the win. As of right now, this could change by game time tomorrow. I'm recording this, on Friday. This could change by game time tomorrow, but right now I'm giving Texas the slight edge. I think the spread, last I looked, was like 12.5 for Texas, and I am taking Clemson to cover that spread. I think it's going to be really close. I know it's in Austin, but give me Clemson to cover that, but Texas to advance. Penn State hosting SMU. I think this is the most likelihood for a blowout, not just because of the weather. Like, all guys from any college football team come from different states. So, SMU, I don't know the whole makeup of their roster, but just because they're a team that plays in warmer weather doesn't mean they don't have guys that they've recruited from colder weather states. Like that, yes, it can be a factor in the game, the weather, but it'll be a factor for both teams. Not everyone from Penn State is from, the East Coast or the Midwest where it's cold like this, like it will be at kickoff tomorrow. But I just think that the gap between Penn State and SMU is too big. SMU obviously has had a really good year. They're in the playoff for a reason, but I just think Penn State's too formidable. Obviously, James Franklin has not had really any success in his career in these big type games. But I got Penn State winning this one in the 6-11 matchup to advance to play Boise State in the second round there. Next up, and the game on Friday night, is Notre Dame hosting Indiana. Definitely a really intriguing matchup, but I have been someone you have to respect Indiana and what they've done this year, especially where they were last year and the last handful of years. Really the whole program and history of Indiana, where they've been, and to reach heights that they've reached this year. 11-1, a game out from going to the, Big Ten championship game, only loss coming at Ohio State. But their schedule was, I think, a big reason for that. And I know that's kind of a lazy take, but, you just got to call it what it is. That's not saying Indiana doesn't have players and that they can't compete in this game. But I like Notre Dame in this one, not just because they're home, but I think this will be the second biggest victory of the weekend. I think Notre Dame gets it done, advances past in-state opponent. I wouldn't even call them rivals, but another in-state school advancing to the second round of the college football playoff. Next up, going back up to the top, you got Oregon versus Tennessee. In that one, I think Oregon's too good. I think Tennessee can give them a game, but I think Oregon has just been a buzzsaw all year. I think that'll continue in this game as well. Give me Oregon. Moving on. Next up, Arizona State versus Texas for me. And let me tell you this right now, Arizona State, Sam Leavitt, quarterback, former Michigan State quarterback from last year, coming in, they've had an incredible year, yes, but I think whoever wins this Texas-Clemson matchup in the first round advances past Arizona State in the next round. So in this case, it's Texas. I got Texas moving on here. Boise State versus Penn State. Now, I think this will be a little bit closer because Ashton Jeanty, he, in my opinion, should have been the Heisman winner. But he provides some problems for Penn State, but what has Penn State always relied on? Their tough defense. And James Franklin, for what it's worth, all his career having struggled in these big type of games, I got him winning 2 playoff games right here and advancing past Boise State. And then number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs facing Notre Dame. 2 versus 7, and I think Georgia, even though will most likely be without Carson Beck, don't know if it'll be for their whole college football playoff run or just for this game, but I got Georgia advancing past Notre Dame in this one. Just too many guys. Just too many guys on Georgia to get this done. Even if it is their backup quarterback playing in this one, I still think running the ball with the guys that they have there, their defense, give me Georgia to advance on. And then we'll have Oregon versus Texas. This is a very interesting spot here to go to the national championship, and this is a game that I think could go either way. Obviously, Texas was in this format last year, was in the last 4-team college football playoff last year, and ended up losing that first game. But listen, I think there's something about momentum here. Oregon coming off of a little bit of a break here before getting into their first playoff game, and then now having played Tennessee in that second round, playing in this matchup here for a chance to go to the national championship. But I think I got Texas moving on and beating Oregon 1 game shy of the national championship game. Bottom half of the bracket, Penn State versus Georgia, battle of the defenses. This one will be a classic, a 21-17 score will probably win you this one, but I got Georgia moving on to the national championship game. So I have Texas versus Georgia rematch from earlier this season in Austin, where Georgia beat Texas in Austin, should I say, and then in the SEC championship game where Georgia beat Texas in overtime there. I got a rematch, and will Texas get revenge here? No, I don't think so. I got Georgia winning the 2025 national championship here in the first ever 12-team college football playoff. I know a lot's going to be riding on if Carson Beck's playing. I'm backing Georgia whether Carson Beck is playing or not. But this is obviously going to be a very interesting playoff run here. Whoever wins it, like I said, I'm backing Georgia in this one. Think they have what it takes to get it done here. Obviously, a lot of other talented teams up there that will also compete and have a chance to win the national championship here within the next month or so. So anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.